It's another tutorial. This one, we're not going to wing it. I've put it together and we're going to review it. I don't want to keep going back and forth. I've already spent probably about an hour getting this together. Just so you know, this stuff does take a little bit of time, right? So you tend to be bouncing back and forth between the editor and the game to test it. And you should do that. And what you should do is you should try to create blocks of functionality that you'll cut and paste between other projects. What I did with this one was I started with another map and I stripped it down. So I didn't want to have to reproduce all of this. We're not going to really, well, we could run up there and show you what's going to happen there. But basically, we're going to focus on these two areas here. And we have two tests. And I'm actually trying to demonstrate a bug. And the bug initially will not occur, but I'll make it occur. And talk about that. But let's first look at the let's look at the script. So part of what you should do is you should probably make a generic map that you start with that has all of the initial stuff. So you could see here I've got a block and I give resources. I give lots and lots of resources. It's my test maps, max everything. Initialize a variable, which I shouldn't have to do because it should already be initialized in this variable set. It's at one point in time that was a problem. I could probably delete that. So here I give technology because I don't have to wait for research to be able to do certain things. And then this block is pretty useful, and it enables me to allow the user to say how long to play. Now, typically you would say 50, 80, 100, how many days to play. And then I set up a win condition, and you see there's a variable called days to play, which I've initialized here. Okay, and I double click on this. You can see it says days to play number, and I originally was doing 70, 80, 100 because I actually used this in a map. The initial value is 0 because it's set via this event that happens unconditionally, and it will always ask how long do you want to play, and then it sets the days to play variable to 1, 5, or 10. Then there's a win condition that when days to play is equal to the current day, and day is the tab variables, right? That'll always be equal to the current day. When days to play is equal to the current day, and we could have come down here and checked the box that said, we could have come down here and checked the box that said game 1, yes, but I didn't do that. I went into the script and I wrote execute this, end game 1. Okay, nothing block, do other things, but I didn't. End game 1. Now the lose condition is Jane, is dead Jane. So there's a player on the map called Jane, and let me introduce you to her. So there's no, well, what it does here is when this is true, it runs the script. And again, I could have did the checkbox at the bottom, but I decided to do a script. And more than likely you would put a message up that says, hey, you lost. I execute the script of end game lost. Now, if I remember, we'll kill Jane and we should see a lose condition. Or before the 10-day win, or 1, 2, 1, 5, or 10-day win. So let's go see Jane. This is Jane. Say hello to Jane. So the name ID is Jane. That's what makes her accessible via code. Okay. The player, she's not a veteran, 100% life. I could make her as an icon on the mini map, but I don't like when they do that. All right. So we have a couple of conditions, and let me just bring up. All right, that was a tutorial to figure out multiple spawn bugs and logging and notifications to try to debug this. And we have two conditions going on, two events going on. Check every hour, spawn venom every 4 hours, log and notify 4 hours prior to the spawn. Second event, spawn total hours. Now, total hours is a variable that's built into the game that is the total hours. So if it was day 1, hour 6, there's 24 hours in the day. Hour 6 plus 24, that would be spawning 30 runners once radar is touched, then every 3 hours. So what it'll do is it'll actually increase by 3 every time it spawns, because it'll always spawn based on the number of units based on the number the current time. So the longer we play, the more that will spawn. And that will happen here in generator B. So just remember that in generator B, when she touches the radar, they immediately spawn, and then every 3 hours. And these guys on the clock start at hour 4 and every 4 hours. And I think harpies come out. No, I think bitters come out. Bitters come out here, and I think runners come out here. And going to suicide. So these are, you can see I have A. We're probably not even going to look at this, but they spawn in both locations. A and A, same thing. All right. So part of this tutorial is to go through these two events and to show you not only the events, but to show you how to debug. So I learned something about my little Notepad++. If I click this, I, monitoring dash, my tail dash F, that's a Linux tail thing. But it'll keep showing me the contents of this. So we have logging going on in this, on the two events. So first let's look at this one. Well, trigger every hour. So the event itself triggers every hour. Spawn every 4. So obviously you wouldn't want to do this unless you were doing something very special in this event where you wanted to monitor something every hour and potentially have like a random condition occur. You can't put random hours in here, but you can in your script. And we can change it to that, but I want to make it predictable so you can see exactly what is happening. So we're going to check it every hour. It's going to trigger, and it's going to, there's no condition on this. I'm going to run the script, and the conditions are baked in here. So it doesn't notify every hour, spawning every 4 hours, checking every hour, and it's going to, I don't want to notify every hour, do I? Oh, this. Only if total hours. So this is something you shouldn't do. Put conditions on top of notifies. If you look here, you can't tell the condition is there. The way we fix that, we put a block down. Now it's readable. If I say if the total hours are equal to time trigger minus 6. So look at time trigger. Time trigger is set to 4. Sorry, I used to use 6 hours. Now I have to use 4 hours. So that needs to change. Now, another little thing. I did this for readability, but I would never typically use hard-coded numbers in here because if I want to change the numbers, it becomes a pain in the ass. Like you saw, I just made a mistake. I have that number 4 here. I have the number 4 in the spawn. I have the number 4 in the time trigger. I wouldn't typically hard-code a number all over the place, so I would make a variable, and then whenever I change that variable, then all of them would change. but just so that it doesn't get too complicated, I decided to hard code it. So what's going to happen is it's going to say total hours equal time trigger minus 4 if total hours. So it's going to wait for time trigger to be equal. Going to wait until, so initially time trigger is 4, time trigger minus 4 is 0, so total hours should be 0. So this should trigger at hour 0, and it should warn you at hour 0, spitters every 4 hours, checking every hour. Then the block, when it actually executes the units, says if, now total hours, just so you remember, game variable, okay, day time 24 plus hour. I actually got them to add that. Yay me, because I was doing it all by hand. Anyway, so if total hours is greater than time trigger, it'll trigger the spawn. Now, the way I set this up, time trigger is set to 4. So what it's going to do is it's going to wait, it's going to check, run this every hour, but it will only do this block after 4 hours. So this triggers at hour 0, this triggers at hour 4. Then this triggers at hour 4, and this triggers at hour 8. Okay, goes like that, hour 8 and then hour 12. The way this works is very simple. It's built, generate venoms, generate spitters, 10 of them. It'll always be 10, it doesn't increase. And then I increase the time trigger. And I don't have to reset this. This will keep triggering every hour forever. Now, if I were smart, I would just put 4 in there, 4 hours in there. But like I said, the plan here is to allow you to put a lot of logic in here. Do anything you want to every hour. And only trigger certain blocks when they occur. Plus, the intention is to show you the bug. And this is actually how you work around the bug, and I'll get into that. So we make a notify statement 4 hours prior to the event, which will be in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, and a log statement when the event occurs. All right, next one's a little more complicated. This one is called Zombies Once the Radar is Touched. Back to my notes. Spawning total hour runners once the radar is touched, then every 3 hours. I used to have them 6 and 12. I want to sit around waiting all the time. So again, starting at hour 0 and every hour. I could have actually merged these scripts. I could copy and paste these scripts and put them all into this same one. Run them right down the page. But this is, again, it enables me to run 2 similar events and to demonstrate a bug. All right, so this will say horde hours are greater than 0. So let's go look at horde hours. That's initialized to -1. Okay, little trick. So it only logs when horde hours is greater than 0. Is radar captured? We'll look at that variable. Is radar captured is initialized to false. Initially, neither one of these trigger. Okay. This will never get set to anything greater than 0 until they touch the radar. So now let's go find out how this gets set. Because there's nothing in any of these scripts that set these. We're going to go on to and our wonderful Jane is going to run over and touch this radar. Yeah. She's going to run over and touch this radar. And if you right click and say edit, they allow us the ability to put scripts on radars. And all this does is it says, is radar captured is true? And yep, go ahead and spawn zombies. This starts the action. No, not complicated at all. Just sets 2 variables to true. Spawn zombies and is radar captured. So look at our variables. Spawn zombies is Boolean. Is radar captured is Boolean. Both initialized to false. Alright, back to the event. Alright, so they touched the radar. Is radar captured is true now. This is still -1. We don't get a log. This is true. If the hours are greater than horde hour arrives. So remember this was initialized to -1. So it's always going to be true that the current hour is greater. So spawn zombies equal true. So I didn't even need to do that on the map event. I'm doing it right here. I'm setting this to true. And I'm saying, okay, set the horde hours to the current hour plus 3. Okay. So this spawn zombies is true. It's just set to true. I turn it off. I'll put them inside this block. I stay inside this block because this was set to true prior. Now it's set to false to keep me from going into the block on the next loop, because is radar captured will remain true forever from this point on. Once it's captured, it stays captured. So this, remember, horde hour arrives is -1. So the next, until this gets updated, this is not going to be true again. So we spawn the zombies, now we reset it. And then we set the number of zombies to spawn to the current hour. This will tell, so if the current hour is, let's say I touch it at hour 12, I'll get 12 zombies. And here's how that occurs. No condition on any of these. I can read it all from here. I don't put conditions on execute code because they're invisible if you do. You won't see them in the left-hand column. And I don't put execute on blocks. I only put conditions on blocks. All right, so no condition on this block. I'm just doing it to organize. This is basically just calculations and logging. So this is most of the functionality. So this will just notify the user how many zombies are spawning and when the next spawn will occur. So the cool thing about this is I could change it so that the next spawn is a random number and not a predictable every 3 or 4 hours. And we could do that. We could change this to make that number random rather than just adding 3 to it. Make it a range. We could say random anywhere from 3 to 8. And then what's nice about that is this will tell you when the next zombie will spawn on the notify and in the log. The log is the ZX code log file, which we're going to monitor while we're playing. And this is just a way of calculating a way of telling you day and hour based on the horde hour arrives. So horde hour arrives, total time plus 3, breaks it down into days and hours, logs. All right, so the spawning is done in this loop. So if we get into this if spawn, it does this block, and then it does this loop. Generate 1 runner. Zombie worker A is a runner. Generate 1. Decrement number of zombies to spawn. So if total hours is 12, it's now going to generate 1, and then it's going to go to 11, and it will not leave until the number of zombies is less than or equal to 0. 12, 11, 10, 9. So it spawns 12 zombies. That's how we can increase this over time. There's a way of making this more efficient when you're doing hundreds or thousands, but for now, this is good enough. All right, so this is the plan, and I'll keep the plan up so we can see when we're running this. We might pause and come and look at the plan. Pause and look at the plan while we're running it. All right, save it. Let's see if it works. All right, so it's going to happen pretty quick. They're fixed numbers. There's no randomness. Otherwise, how would you know if it's actually working properly? I like to be able to say when the next spawn is. I like when I'm playing a map and it tells me, hey, your next spawn is going to be. Now, they added that actually to the game where they have a countdown as they next spawn. But when I started writing all this stuff, they didn't have that built in. So you would use that in normal mechanism spawning or notifying. It's kind of work. Complete. All right, here we go.
Attention. Technology research finished.
All right, we got 10 days. So,
Does somebody need a mayor?
I said we would get a spawn at hour 4. See if that happens. Bidders every 4 hours, checking every hour. So there's our notification that was queued with everything else. There's our spawn right at hour 4. All right, that's generator A. All right, he'll come out at hour 8, and we should see over here on the top right, 0 day, 4 hour, 10 spitters spawning every 4 hours. 0 day, 8 hour, 10 spitters spawning every 8 hours, okay? So that's one event, and they all occurred right on time. Now, I'm giving it a little bit of time before I do this, because this is part of the bug, is I want to generate. Now, we're not going to see the bug in this code because I worked around it, but I'll show you how part of this goal is to show the bug. All right, so tower 12. Look at Jane. We're going to do 2 things. One, we're going to capture radar. Now, this is every 4 hours. This is every 3 hours. So let's go grab it at hour 15. They will spawn on the very next hour, hour 16. And then it tells me when the next spawn is in the upper left-hand corner. The next one is at hour 19, 3 hours in the future. All right. So 019, we'll get that. And then again, these will continue to spawn. And you can see the logging occurring.
Our soldiers are in
All right, right on the button. Hour 20. The next spawn in this is hour 22. There they go. Beautiful. All right, let's see if we can kill her. So bad things happen if she runs up there.
Our forces are in danger.
I turn that off. Turn that off. All right, well, she's going to go down here. Let's see if she can get herself killed.
Units under attack.
Probably shouldn't be there. Doing. What are you doing, Jane?
Our soldiers are in
Oh, poor Jane. Colony has fallen. All of 1 day. Woohoo. What a great score. All right. So now the plan is to go and demonstrate the bug. What the log looks like. So keep in mind, this was logging every hour. You wouldn't want to do that. It's just a mess, and your logs get scattered throughout the whole log. 22, 22, 25, 25, 20. You would only log it when it's meaningful. This was a log that's meaningful. It says at hour days 0, hour 19. Funny because I added this and then they added it. I don't have to do that anymore. Calculate the day and the hour. They saw the value in adding that on every line. Next spawn at day 0, hour 22. Go beyond day 1 to day 1, hour 7. So that would be the current day plus 3. They added their own day and hour. They're watching some of the shit that I'm putting out. Okay, let's go get it. Hopefully, I've reported this many, many times. They still have yet to fix it. All right, so the issue is this. All right, we're going to do it on the radar touch. The issue is if you move the condition from the block, let's do this. Is radar captured? If you move the condition from the block to the schedule, it will accumulate these events and then trigger a bunch of them all at once the radar is captured. I don't think I have to change anything in here. So it seems to queue up 1 per hour. But what I would expect is this is spawning. I would expect this to occur multiple times as soon as I touch the thing, the radar. So let's go see if that's true. That means this will log. This will log every single hour. No, it will log every hour once that condition is true. So what I want to see is, do we get multiple of those logs? You know what? It may not even be script. Maybe this block here. So this has got the loop because I want to be able to spawn a different number based on the time of day. Can't do that in here. Anyway, we're going to just see if that log statement. And if it doesn't, then I'll admit defeat. We got Notepad++. This little eyeball will monitor the log live. Every time you write to it, it'll update and scroll. Oh.
Attention. Technology research finished.
I present your mayoral candidates.
All right, again. Hour 4. Let hours accumulate. Monitor the log. None of those log statements that I put in there have triggered. Normal spitter log triggered. So what I'm claiming is the bug is as soon as she touches the radar, I'll see more than one of the trigger logs. So it's
more orders.
the
Units under attack.
Event associated with this trigger area happening every hour but being held off.
What's up?
Now let's trigger it at hour 10.
Yes.
What do we get? There we go. Exactly what I thought was going to happen. So you see these? This means that if you had put your spawn.
Danger.
This demonstrated the bug properly. If you had put your spawn in the generate of the main loop, it would have occurred 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, and 11 times because it was hour 11 when it actually triggered. Okay, so it repeats that event. It holds off the event, but it repeats it for every hour. So the way I found this was I had written a script and I didn't generate using the generate in the blocks. But you see the way that I wrote it in the generate in the blocks, it actually really only spawned, it only triggered once. But if you put the trigger in the normal generate loop, you'd get a lot more want. So this is the bug. Proof of the pudding. So my script did not trigger because it triggered this 13 times, but my script only allowed it to happen once because it resets the value and it turns off the Boolean and keeps the block from occurring more than once, even though it's being called 13 or 11 times. That's how you fix it. So the way I wrote it without the condition on the main. All right, so let's load the other one before. And same map. So that you wanted to see. Hang on, let me just end this, and then I'll start it up again real quick. You'll just have to rejoin. That way I can post this tutorial. All right.